Yo,
Yo,
You're right.
the man
good.
himself.
How you doing,
What's up,
mate?
How
bro?
are you guys? You good?
Yes,
Yeah, good
how are you?
thank you.
Yeah, very well. Very well. I'm sorry that I messed up time as well. Hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. We'll crack on straight away.
Okay, cool.
Right, let's just get rid of that. Right, let's go for it. Just got rice going down my jugular at very, very fast speed.
I just ran down a minute myself.
Oh, man, you know the life.
I
Yeah.
waited for mine, so I'd be hungry after the podcast.
Oh shit.
Right, guys, let's get this on the roll. We don't want to hold AJ.
Oh, let's
What's
do
going
it.
on, guys? Welcome to the Bodybuilding Unfiltered podcast, episode 5. Today, guys, we have a very special guest. In my opinion, and I think many other opinion, the king of natural bodybuilding, right? Introduce yourself, dude, even though you don't need an intro.
But I don't think I'm necessarily the king. I think there's a lot better natural bodybuilders than me, and there's people that have done a lot more than me. Bear in mind, I'm still an amateur in natural bodybuilding, so I haven't actually got a professional status yet. I think the reason why maybe a few people, and including yourself kindly, Danny, think that I am one of the biggest sort of people in natural bodybuilding is probably just because of the social media presence that I do have, and also the coaching that I do. So for a living, I coach online. I've been doing this since 2015. I run what's called Team MBM bodybuilding coaching, and that primarily focuses around the natural athlete. So I do coach some assisted athletes, but I get other people to help me out when it comes to their protocols.
Okay.
I don't have the knowledge yet, and I don't really necessarily plan to have the knowledge at this moment of time and to coach in the assisted field, just because I found my niche. I love coaching natural athletes. I think that I'm getting better and better at it, and I want to master that craft as opposed to trying to be a master of all crafts, so to speak. I want to really just sort of hone down on the natural side. And from a competitive standpoint as well, obviously I've competed 2014, 2015 as a teenager. And I did okay as a teenager. I didn't do anything amazing. I won a couple of regional shows and I placed in the top 5 at British finals. But 2017 was my best year as a competitor, where I won the Junior British Championship with the UKDFBA, which is the biggest and probably the best natural federation in the UK. And then I went on to win the Worlds with the WNBF, which is now the federation where my goal is to have professional status. And that is the goal this year, provided that shows go ahead later in the year as well. So yeah, that's pretty much myself, unless you want to know any more.
So is that the show at the end of the year, the Two-Bro show, right? That they've just released.
What's that, buddy? What shows?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just
There was a show at the end of the year. It's like a Two-Bro show that they just released specifically for natural athletes to give you the chance to turn pro. Is that the one you're referring to?
No. Oh,
I know the 2 bro shows you're mentioning,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure as to how natural those will be.
Oh, right.
I think they will. I think they will be drug tested, and I think at some point we're going to see the demise of some of the current natural federations in the UK, and we're going to see the rise of federations like 2Bros taking over the natural space as well as the assisted space. I think that's definitely going to happen at some point.
Right.
It's only a matter of time until that happens, because 2Bros and the IFBB or whatever we call it now, is it the MPC, is the IFBB? Yeah. So that side of things have obviously got a huge platform, and they really know how to run shows. They really know how to get people in the doors. So at some point that will definitely take over. But I think right now there's still, decades and decades of history and support for the sport when it comes to the WNBF primarily, and then other federations like BNBF and DFAC for the natural scene. But I've not planned to do any of those shows at the moment, but I'm definitely not sort of counting it out. But I haven't sort of got the plan to do them yet.
So in terms of, obviously you said you don't know how natural they'll be. Do you reckon it will just be tested for, let's say, for example, if you've been a year clear of drugs or a couple of years clear of drugs, that kind of thing?
I'm not sure, in all honesty, and I wouldn't have the the ability to sort of like definitively answer that question. I think it'd be unfair of me to do so as well. The reason why I suggest the reason that they might not be natural is just because of who I've seen compete in the one that was held in, I believe, Canada last year.
Okay.
I just know for a fact that some people that went out there and did that show are just not natural anymore.
Yeah.
I just know that, you know, I just know that from them being honest with me, and
Just tell as well.
you can tell by the look. Yeah, you can tell by the look. It's just a very easy sort of thing to.
Oh, have we lost Adrian?
When they're in clothing and things like that.
No, we got him back.
You got him back.
Yeah, I was just saying how, you know, especially when they're in clothing and things like that in the off season,
Yeah.
the size difference is just so clear.
Yeah.
So it's really a case of, I just hope they start to get more stringent drug testing going on, that side of things, and then they will really fly for sure, and we'll start to maybe get a little bit more of a one place for a natural athlete, because right now it's quite scattered. You're either WMBF Pro or a DFAC Pro or a bloody IMBA Pro or an IPE Pro. There's too many bloody pro cards.
One fed to rule them all, pretty much.
Here's a contradicting question. So if you could have one natural federation, then AJ, only one, what would it be?
Well, I'd have in the UK, I'd have the UK DFBA. Okay. And in the world and the pro affiliate, I'd have the WMBF. They just run the best shows in terms of amount of total athletes, and the ability for you to actually level up to that pro level is, the opportunities there are great. Like if you win your class at the UK FBA and the UK finals, you get a full expenses paid trip to the States to go and compete. When I went to Boston, I paid for nothing apart from my food.
Yeah, I remember watching that, man. That was mental.
Didn't you do a YouTube series? What's that, bud?
Didn't you do a YouTube series for that? I remember seeing it somewhere.
Yeah. I did the series called Boston Bound. Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. I remember watching that very well. Cool,
yeah, it was just like totally raw clips with my iPhone, and I enjoyed making that, to be honest. But yeah, like at the age of 21, to be able to go, like that was my first time ever going to America.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And yeah, it's just amazing. And luckily enough, I am, you know, I must admit, I am a bit biased because I've been taken to the Worlds with them, and I'm also very lucky to be really close friends with the people that run that federation, just because they've helped me out in so many ways, and I've been able to go on trips with them and help them out with the athletes and things like that. Just because I wanted to immerse myself in the sport as a coach. I wanted to be at the Worlds like every year since I competed. I want to be there because I want to know what the standards are like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, I'd go for those two federations, mate, without a second thought.
Interesting. You know, man, like I've said this to a couple of people, and I have utmost respect for natural bodybuilding. But there are, and I don't mean, if you're listening to this and your name's not called, don't get offended. It's my personal opinion. There's certain people in the natural bodybuilding scene that make me go, fuck, that dude looks insane. You know, so obviously yourself, Foreborn, Jack, his name, I don't know how you say his bloody last name, whatever. His quads are massive, mate. He's got some solid tissue on him, you know. You got flipping Keefe pulling like 300 kilos.
Keefe's a joke, mate.
Keefe's a joke.
He's a joke.
But he's stronger than us, and we're all gear, bruv.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. And he's like 3 years younger than us as well.
Yes.
He's serious.
He is serious.
There's something in that kid. He's going to go very, very far for sure. Like I don't think it would do him justice to stay natural all of his life. I think he should be one of those people, unless he's got a really big goal of being a professional natural bodybuilder and winning world titles. That's my goal. I want to definitely do that. But I'm under no illusion that I've got okay genetics, but I haven't got what it takes to get to the Olympia. And that's what I'd want if I went assisted. But I think Keefe's got that kind of potential.
He is, I mean, obviously he works extremely hard, but he's genetically elite, and you can just tell that like nobody looks like that at that age naturally and can lift that weight. It's just fun.
It's crazy that he hasn't actually, apart from when he was obviously a junior, he won the Worlds. He hasn't actually nailed the junior UK title yet.
Wow.
Because he keeps running up against some really, really tough competition at that finals, and like they've got something that They've got something that the one or two things that he's missing.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like his density in his legs and his back is just dumb.
Mental, yeah. And on stage, he just looks. Trust me, he looks so big, so big. Like he's not small in any shape or terms. Like the only thing that holds him back is like when you get a kid that's got like a 4-inch waist.
Yeah.
Just makes him look like a little bit blocky. But I could talk about Keith all day because I really like him. But I guess this podcast is not about Keith.
Hey, let's talk about Morris, right? Let's talk, the condition you bring, though. Let's talk about that. I want to know how long you dial your guys in for natural bodybuilding shows.
Yeah.
I want to know what it actually takes, because obviously I've done a prep, I've competed. I'm enhanced. Everyone knows it's not a secret. Blah blah blah. But, you know, I want to know what a natural prep looks like, because is it completely different to what an enhanced prep would be? Obviously, the time scale I can imagine is longer, but tell us about that, man.
Sure. So I discussed this quite a bit on the podcast that I was on, the UK Pro Muscle one, because we obviously went back and forth about the differences between the natural and assisted preps, and we came to the conclusion that the reality is they're not that much different in terms of the way that we approach things, because ultimately losing body fat in a contest prep scenario is a case of how much muscle can you protect. Yeah. It's not how quick you could lose. It's not how quick you can get into shape. It's more so. So from my perspective, with a natural athlete, I want to have as much time as possible with them prior to the prep to understand what start position we're in, where their food is at, where their cardio is at, where they're at mentally, just to get them in that really perfect environment to begin a fat loss phase. And then legitimately, it's very rare that I'll do a prep that's any shorter than 25 weeks with an athlete that's natural. Obviously, it very much depends on their start point, but I don't like to start people excessively lean. I'd like them pushed up. I'd like them soft. I'd like them off-season condition before they begin, because the whole benefit of doing that is metabolic upregulation. We get onto high food. We get into low areas of fatigue. So they're in a really, really good place to respond to a deficit. You should like that switch of a deficit, and they should just drop. You know, it's just nice and easy for the first, so prime example, my prep. 16 weeks in, and I've got 15 weeks to go. So it's going to be about a 30-week prep. The reason why it's 30 weeks to the first show is just because my schedule changed. It was actually meant to be 24 weeks the first show, and then a little bit longer after that. So my first half up until this point has been an absolute breeze. Like, it was welcomed. It was so easy that I'd rather have done this for the last 16 weeks than been in the off season, because the food was still nice and high. I was still progressing. I've still gotten stronger over the last 16 weeks. And that's the whole purpose of going slowly, is that you retain strength. And as a result of retaining strength, you retain muscle. Yeah. And as a natural athlete, if you diet quick and you diet hard, you're just going to look shit. You're going to look soft, flat. Yeah. You're going to lose tissue. And already as a natural, you know, unless you're a genetic freak, you're not playing with a lot of muscle. You know, you can't afford to give away 5 pounds of muscle by losing strength and by losing too fast. So generally, I'll look for not losing any more than 1% of my body weight per week, or 1% of a client's body weight per week. So if they weigh 190 pounds, which is where I started, I'd be losing it like 1.9 pounds per week for as long as I'm that weight. And then I'll start to sort of gradually reduce it. So as you get leaner and leaner, the rate of loss reduces, just as because it's a percentage of your body weight, but also because the likelihood of your muscle loss happening is higher as you get closer to the show and as you get leaner. You know, that risk factor just keeps increasing. You just got to be on the side of caution at that point. And that's why it phases towards the end. We look at doing things to mitigate fatigue and manage performance, like back-to-back refeeds, which I've just done in my last week of dieting, and diet breaks, where you actually spend a whole week or even 2 weeks. Ooh. Calories are above. So did you lose me for a bit?
Yeah, I lost you for a bit there. Just repeat what you just said about diet breaks, bro.
So diet breaks would be essentially just a week or two or longer at above maintenance, ideally just a slight bit above maintenance, just to remove diet fatigue, manage performance, And then again, you just get that slight metabolic upregulation. The longer you spend at maintenance or above, the more negative adaptations of dieting you remove. So you've got more ammo to go further. Like someone asked me on my story today, my cardio is super high and my calories are super low. Where do I go next?
Yeah.
You don't really have much place to go in terms of removing food or adding cardio, because you're already high on both of high on cardio, low on food. So you've got to create some adaptations to be able to force a novel adaptation way down. So you've got to remove fatigue, create upregulation, so you can then start to bring down food again.
Yeah.
So the whole process is very similar with an assisted guy or girl. You'd just be able to put in drugs that will allow you to protect muscle towards the end and protect performance and also protect fullness. Like you can add in, like, for example, even, you know, some figure athletes, bikini athletes, they might use Anavar at the end of a prep to protect fullness. And, you know, as a natural, if you obviously can't fucking do that. So your ammunition for protecting muscle fullness is your rate of loss and refeeds and diet breaks and being really meticulous with your training volume as well, making sure it matches your expenditure, etc.
In terms of like natural supplements, I really don't know much about natural bodybuilding at all.
Okay.
Is there anything at all that you could take that's natural that could protect your fullness?
Creatine.
I love it. Oh man,
you can keep your creatine in. You could maybe go up to 10 grams a day. up the dose.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, mate, no. There's
really much. Okay.
There's not much you can really do. I mean, there's no real supplements that you can really sort of protect fullness with. It is really down to training performance and your diet, and I think that's where I really, really recommend that even if you know that you want to go assisted and like all of your goals are in assisted bodybuilding, just do one prep naturally if you can. And that's no offense to people that have decided not to do that.
Yeah.
But I just think that you'll learn how to manage every variable without the of drugs. And as a result of that, your knowledge when
we've lost him again.
will just go up.
You just cut off there for about 20 seconds.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the internet. So yeah, essentially what I said is that if you do the natural prep first, you'll be able to understand the context of how to manage every single variable without the presence of drugs. So it becomes essentially then a really meticulous process for you. And you're not missing any box that you can't tick naturally. It's like, you know, you might get an assist athlete and they won't take creatine, for example. And, you know, there's still benefits of taking creatine as an assist. Yes, you're going to gain fullness from the manipulations in drug protocols, but still, I think you'll gain something from having a supplement that's very much backed within the research in your regime. And that's something that maybe some people do miss. So yeah, that's my thoughts there.
In terms of like your meal timings and stuff, I mean, we are pretty meticulous with it anyway, but I'm assuming especially towards the end, you have to be really, really on the ball with it because you just risk catabolism.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, even in the off season, I'm just on a pretty much a meal plan. I don't see the rationale behind, you know, the if it fits your macros, the flexible dieting. Now with a lot of my clients, I will set macros, but what I'll do within the macros is I'll set up a composition based diet, so they'll understand as to how they should split their macros across the day. And then they will tend to the clients that are happy choosing their food options, they'll send me their food options and I'll just be like, that's cool, just don't make any huge changes to that. Because at the end of the day, if someone wants beef instead of chicken, or if someone wants egg whites instead of salmon, or like whatever, like if they want a little bit of change of variety here and there, like I've not got a problem with that.
Near enough interchangeable. Interchangeable protein sources. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's going to either have oats, potato, rice, or that's what they're going to have. You know, so it's not going to make a huge fucking difference.
all I say is just like, you know, consistency and the variables at play. Like even now for me, like it's, I'll be tracking my fluid intake. I'll be tracking my sodium intake. I'll be tracking my potassium intake. I'll be tracking my fiber. I'll be tracking when I have my last meal before bed. Like every single little thing will be understood so that when, like, for example, when I do a refeed and I know that I'm having X amount more carbs, I'll have X amount more fluid and X amount more sodium to ensure that all of those carbohydrates are trying to be delivered to the right place.
Yeah.
Comes to
Oh.
ask me again, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell when it happens. That helps me when it comes to peaking, because then I'm able to manipulate all of those variables all in sync and create the best possible look. But again, like off season, I'll switch off to those things. I won't be tracking my sodium. I won't be tracking. I'll obviously have salt, but I won't be tracking it to the gram. I won't be tracking my fluids to the milliliter.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the meticulous action of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Does definitely bode so much relevance, because we can't afford to like miss a box that needs to be ticked.
Yeah. And in
Okay,
terms of body weight, what's your prep looking like? In like your last prep, how much did you pull off? Where was the start point? Where was the end point?
Okay, so last prep was, I started at 184 pounds, finished at 146 at my lightest. So I lost just under 40 pounds. This prep so far, so I started at 196, so just under 10 pounds heavier than 2017. I'm now 175 pounds as of this, 174 pounds, sorry, as of this morning. And I believe from the look at the moment, I've got about 15 pounds to come off, mainly my fat ass legs, because my upper body, unfortunately, is like in pretty good condition at the moment, especially my back. But my legs is just completely different physique, like completely different physique. I just hold so much fat in my ass and my hamstrings, and it's really frustrating, to be honest, because I know that I'm going to have to pull a bit of fullness off my upper body to get my legs in, but I can't stand on stage with a fat ass, that's for sure. So
yeah, you love those striated glutes, man.
I do.
I see it all the time. I think it was you. Was someone posted something on a story, and it was something like, "Oh, don't mind me when I'm standing next to you with your saggy glutes," or something like this.
I hope I didn't say that.
Someone said it.
Yeah, I think that was maybe Thorburn. That's something Thorburn would say.
Yeah, probably.
But I do like that look for sure. But at the end of the day, if it makes me a net worse bodybuilder, then I'm not going to chase just that extra line in my arse.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I want to get into serious condition this year, because I know that that's required for my goal, and I know that stepping on stage, anything less than that, people will look at me and think, "What's AJ done?" Because like I'm expected to turn up in good condition. I'm like that's what I'm kind of not. That's what I'm kind of known for a little bit in the natural scene, is that I turn up in shape. So I really want to just keep up my word on that front.
That's the thing. Like, I think that's what I admire about you, is the condition you bring is, the condition you bring to the stage is better than most enhanced athlete amateurs. And I'm thinking, like, you are skinless, bud, on stage, peeled.
It's just a completely different look. It's so crisp, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. It is mental.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And
but it's good. It's good to see, though, because a lot of guys out there, you know, who are thinking, can I get that lean, or do I need to take drugs? It's good that they can look at you and see that you're fucking diced, bruv. And, you know, they're going to go, oh, AJ didn't take drugs, so I don't need to take drugs to look like AJ, because it's achievable, natural. And that's what I love about what you do, is you can, you appeal to the people that shouldn't be taking gear and, you know, shouldn't be doing that. And they can go, look, I can get to that level of conditioning without touching anything. And I think that's fucking awesome.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that, and I think something to sort of go alongside that discussion is just for people that are watching and listening is remind yourself that the condition that like a lot of naturals get into is a prerequisite of their muscle density and maturity. So I've been training since I was like 14, 15 years old, and I've always had the focus of just getting ultimately as strong as humanly possible. And, talking about Keefe and, Thorburn and things like that. And
Yeah.
all of these guys have something in common, and that's that they train like absolute animals. And if you train like a wet wipe, or you're not that strong on a lot of movements, and you haven't touched weights that really you should be touching, you haven't pushed yourself, then you can expect to not have a good look when you diet down. Your muscle just won't look the same. I promise you, it just won't look the same.
Yeah.
It will look softer, and it won't have that density. It won't have that hard look.
Yeah.
So the all famous saying that JP coined, touching new weights, is especially for natties then.
Yeah, it rings true for sure. And all the best, like not even the social media natties, like there's loads of natties that span like decades and decades ago, and they have one thing in common. They all trained like absolute animals.
Yeah.
And a lot of them trained with pretty low frequency as well. Like we're talking some of the best naturals have trained 3 times a week.
Wow.
3-4 times a week on splits, upper lower.
Yeah,
Just basic shit. And yeah, so my advice is to really sort of bring it down to the basics and get strong as hell, and do that for like 3, 4, 5 years maybe, and then do a diet and see how you look. And if you take off, a lot of the body fat, I guarantee you're going to have a really, really good look underneath if you've spent a long time getting stronger, because it's all going to start to show itself, as long as you stay strong during the diet as well.
Yeah.
Of course, that's pivotal. So yeah.
So towards the end of the prep, how do you feel? I mean, like obviously, for any prep, natural or enhanced, you feel pretty shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've got things to assist us. For example, like stuff for sex drive. We've got like Proviron. We've got stuff for recovery. You know what I mean? Like, how do you find that things go towards the end of your prep?
Yeah, I mean, you feel like a fucking girl, basically.
Yeah.
You have incredibly low sex drive. Nothing interests you from that perspective, and it is difficult.
Just go into robot mode, I guess.
Yeah, and like weird shit happens. Like you just get upset over weird stuff. Like obviously everyone's emotional when you're prepping, but because you have that imbalance towards the end as a natural of estrogen climbing and testosterone basically tanked. Most naturals in good condition are hypergonadal by the end, and that causes a ton of problems, especially if you compete regularly. Like if you're messing about with hormonal profiles regularly, like every year, and you're young, you're going to be in a pretty screwed up position post competition, especially if you gain back the weight fast. That's when you can get really bad side effects. In fact, just like the side effects that you get off a cycle, because you're essentially like the hormonal balance, the profile is the issue. It's not necessarily that one thing's massively high. Like for example, you don't necessarily get loads of like estrogenic based side effects by estrogen climbing. It's the balance. It's like if estrogen is off and testosterone is off consistently, you've got problems going on. So the reverse diet and the phase post competition is really important for naturals, both male and female, especially obviously with the females, the menstrual cycle side of things, and also the thyroid hormones, which you can't supplement. You can't take T3. You can't take T4. So if your numbers are plummeting, which they will do, your only tool is food and refeeds and mitigating fatigue.
So I mean, I think it's fair to say it is that much harder to get there conditioning.
Oh yeah. And actually, to be honest, one of the things that I've discussed at length with loads of people is that genuinely think the end of a prep, it's healthier to be assisted. Like bottom line, it really, female and male, I think females can be running T3, T4, can be balancing out thyroid hormones. So can males, of course, because they're still going to downregulate.
Yeah.
But there's more problems with thyroid hormones being off for females because they can start to affect all other host of things.
Yeah.
And then that allows them maybe to keep things like menstrual cycles in check a little bit further along the line. And then for the males, obviously going hypergonadal multiple times is not a good idea. And the recovery axis of that can sometimes be so detrimental that they actually never get back into physiological ranges. And then as a result of that, they have loads of side effects, which to the point, if they don't diagnose that they're hypergonadal, they will spend the rest of their life in a really, really horrible position. Because if you spent a good couple of months in that range, you know that life sucks like big time.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel yourself. You don't feel like a man. You don't feel like, you can spend, like, for example, the end of a prep for the first show, like the last couple of weeks up until my first show this season, I'll probably still feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But then if I qualify for Worlds, which will be 6 weeks later, and it actually goes ahead and I'm allowed to actually get to the venue, then I will feel really shit for those 3 weeks. I know that. Yeah. But I'm prepared for that. Like I've done it before. I know what it feels like. I can prepare my circle of people around me to sort of accommodate how I'm going to be feeling.
Yeah.
And I know at that point, if I do get to that goal, that I'll be so laser focused on it that,
you won't.
to be honest, that the element of feeling shit is just completely out the window. I don't really mind anymore that I'm feeling crap, because the goal is so strong. And that's another thing that JP says, match your actions with your goals, and your actions in that moment have to be completely dissipate the idea of feeling tired or fatigued, and focus on the fact that you've got, boxes to tick, you've got things to do, and you've got a goal to achieve. So that will always be my mindset, to be honest. There, I don't tend to harp on the negatives too much. If you do, that it's a horrible deep hole, and you're just going to complain more and more and more. So
on the topic of JP, first of all, we feel congrats on the sponsorship, my man. That's very, very cool. Did you hear that?
Did you get that?
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
That's all right, dude. So I just said, on the topic of JP, congrats on the sponsorship, dude. That's flipping very, very cool.
Thank you.
And secondly, have you, like, I know you're in the JP circle, you got Cuba, you're very close to those guys. Do you ever think that potentially Cuba or Jordan could put you through a prep? Or is that already happening? Is that something that goes on in your circle right now?
Pretty much something that's already going on. Not so much with Jordan, and that's no offense to Jordan. It's just that I haven't obviously communicated with him that much. We went back and forth a little bit last year when I got the chance to train with him.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we haven't really discussed things too much. And I never really want to bug Jordan. Like, I'm lucky enough to have him on WhatsApp and stuff, but I don't message him because I know how busy he is. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to really send my shots to Jordan unless something's going on where I need him there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just Cuba. So actually, me and Cuba go back and forth. So like, he'll send some of his shots to me, I'll send some of my shots to him.
Yeah.
And he's super, super helpful. Like, he's got obviously a very, very good level head for the sport and a very good eye, and I trust him a lot with the decisions that we make, and that's very, very helpful in terms of being taken through a whole prep by a coach. I think, to be honest, Danny, like, I'd be more interested in actually being taken in an off season with Jordan in the future, just so he can control my training and I can get a little bit of an insight as to how he coaches that.
Yeah.
So I think next off season, depending on what happens this year and what goals are achieved, I might work with Jordan directly and actually have him as a coach and just learn from him on that front, because obviously I've got the opportunity to do that.
I think that would be like a pretty cool combo to see, man.
Yeah, I think people would like to see it too, to be honest.
A lot of people, I reckon, that would be the combo, AJ and JP. That would be sick, man. I rate that for real. That's sick.
Yeah. I think it's a very good idea that obviously they've put you on the website as a natural athlete, because it's literally all assisted athletes at the minute.
It is, yeah.
There's not really any videos or information for naturals at all.
No. I mean, even like I imagine that some of the bikini athletes have not used much.
I mean, but that's.
I think they've used like a little bit here and there, but still, like in terms of being like a true natural athlete who competes in natural federations,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's an absolute honor to be the first one that's on the site.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope in the future that, you know, maybe they add more, but for now, with my videos and with working with Jay, I've made it clear to him that I want to try and get across the message that things aren't that different over here. And that I can help people that are natural on the site move forwards towards their goals just as much as well. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I think it's needed, man. You know, he's got such a wide platform that not everyone that is watching is going to be enhanced. So they kind of need a natural guy like yourself to be there, to be the idol, you know, to be someone to look up to, because you ain't going to take, let's say, 15-year-old Johnny who wants to stay natural. He's not going to idolize to be fucking Jordan, is he?
He might do.
He might do, but if he doesn't want to take gear, looking at AJ, because, oh, look at AJ. AJ's, you know, I believe I can achieve that. You know, I think
I think it gives people options, doesn't it? Right? Because I think when people join the site and they're young, they might think that the only option for them in terms of achieving their goals and being like these people and being like their idols is to take drugs, because that is what, you know, the site is about. And there's a lot of young guys on that site because it's a low barrier to entry. You know, it's not a pricey thing. It's $8.99 a month. So a lot of young people can join.
Yeah.
And then that is maybe a problem in the sense that I don't know whether Jordan or Corin gets asked questions from 16, 17-year-olds that really want to achieve things that they've achieved. So yeah, I think it will be a good thing, mate. And, you know, I said to Jordan, you know, I really, really do plan on staying natural for a long, long time. You know, we're talking at least like a decade. I think the only reason why I'd ever go assisted is just because it would make my health better, like a TRT dose of testosterone or something when I'm older. Yeah. But I just don't have any plans to go assisted for the performance benefits.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're a strong dude, you know.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
No, but you are, like, and the execution's on the money, you know. It's like, but then I think that's why I would struggle to stay natural. If I was that strong naturally like you, I'd think, what happens if I was to take 250 milligrams of test? I'd be squatting 200 for 20. Do you know? You're doing what, 200 for 10 after grass?
I know that. I think that's one of the things that does go through my mind, because as much as I do really like the size element of assisted bodybuilding, I don't necessarily aspire to the look.
Right.
I've always looked up to natural bodybuilders. Like, one of my favorites are Brian Whitaker and John and flow really nicely and, you know, have crazy good symmetry and proportions. And not that assisted guys don't have that, but I think I'd be one of those people that would chase just so much size and strength, and I'd get so obsessed with that I would personally have some of my lines start to go a bit, I think, just through the amount of food that would have to be eaten, etc., to get to that level.
Yeah.
Jordan's been obviously very, very open about that he's, you know, made mistakes in terms of chasing pure size, pure muscle. But I think I'd be obsessed with that kind of same goal, because I just want to keep getting more plates on the bar, because I'm obsessed with that even as a natural. Strength is something that really does motivate me for sure. But yeah, I do think about that sometimes. So when I think of assisted bodybuilding, I do think more about what could I lift, rather than what could I look like, if that makes sense. I never really think about what I could look like, because I like I say, I don't really think that I look up to the look as much as I do the strength.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think I was the same when I was younger. Before I jumped on, I wanted us to be as strong as humanly possible. And I got relatively strong before I jumped again. Nothing on the AJ level, but for where I was relatively strong. But for me, every time I go on cycle, I'm like, how flipping strong can I get? That's my favorite thing to do. Heavy RDLs, heavy deads, heavy squats. How much further can I push this on? So, you know, it's interesting that not everyone is just you know, focused on the look as much, but the strength factor as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
What about you, Jamie, man? Where were you at on that point?
Mate, you know, with me, I was pretty. I sporadically decided to jump on gear. It was a really dumb idea, to be honest with you. I literally decided. I went for a breakup. I literally decided, pretty much overnight, to get on a rip blend. It was completely fucking stupid, but I'm being honest. And I hadn't had tons of experience at all, and I learnt the hard way. Was in hospital as a result of it because I wasn't jabbing properly. And I mean, it's the honest truth though, and I feel like people need to learn that, because you can't just jump on without understanding and knowing. And I learnt naively, but I learnt the hard way, and I can share the story.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't give it much thought at all. But as a result of all of those things that happened, I feel like I've dug in and researched a lot now and understand things a lot better.
Yeah, that's good.
But you learn from your mistakes, man. Like,
exactly.
But
it seems to be I always learn the hard way.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But unfortunately, on the assisted side, you learn as you go. You know, it's like it's very much a pick out the box. You don't know what you're getting. This goes wrong. This goes wrong. This goes wrong. How would you get around the? You know, but
yeah,
I think personally, if I rethink, I'm not saying I regret, because I don't. But if I had something really good to say, then it's completely jumped out of my mind. I potentially would have waited longer to go on, personally. Yeah. Do I think I would have gone on eventually? Absolutely. But I think maybe being a bit more patient and testing the waters naturally to see what I could do probably would have been a better approach. But like you said, you kind of live and you learn, you do it, and that's it really, isn't it?
I think I wish I did wait another year.
Yeah.
At least another year of solid training. I mean, the reality is, if you want to make it big in the assisted bodybuilding industry, these people have been on since fucking 17 years old, you know, and the reality of it. But I do wish I waited that tiny bit longer.
That's what I was going to say. If there was no such thing as assisted bodybuilding, which is just like it's never going to happen. If there was a way without using steroids, I would definitely opt for that way. Do you know what I mean? If you could get as big as Phil Heath and stop steroids today, I'd immediately stop. I wouldn't stay on that sort of thing.
You wouldn't, would you?
No, but you say that a lot of people I feel would stay on.
But I don't understand, because then you just get all the side effects.
Risk now.
All of the health, but have the same.
Oh man, people are addicted.
They just like to take the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something I'm proud of, and I don't think Danny's proud of it either. But it's just the necessary for what we want to do at this point in time.
Yeah.
So your goals this year, AJ? Win the world. No, you've already won the worlds. What was the goal?
So, yeah, I mean, the goal is to win the worlds again, just win it in a different class. Okay. So, I think this year with the weight categories, the way they're going to do it, because so in the UK, we normally have qualifiers and then a British final. But because there's no qualifiers because of this whole Corona situation, we're just having a one open event at the British finals. So they're going to change the weight categories a little bit, which will mean that actually is very favourable for me, because I'll probably be at the top end of the lightweight class, whereas if they were at the normal...
Sorry, cut off there.
If they're at the normal weight categories, I would be in like the middle of the, like bang on in the middle of the middleweights. So yeah, we
made a runner.
We lost him. So I'll be in a better position with regards to the classes, and then the goal is to win the British finals. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't trying to win the overall as well at that show. That would be
sorry about that.
That's all right.
Madhouse.
Did you order a hooker to the room? She come home?
No, brother, it was my mum.
Bring her on the podcast, bro.
No, she was
Oh,
asking.
AJ, continue, man.
Yeah, so like I said, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't trying to win the overall at that show. It's obviously like a little less likely because, you know, there's going to be a middleweight and there's going to be a heavyweight winner, and both of them will carry more muscle than me, but I give it my best shot. And then if I do win my class at the British, then I'll get qualified for the Worlds, which are in November in LA. So provided we can get out to LA, I think LA at the moment isn't too bad.
I think they've had I think they might have had a second lockdown, you know.
Oh shit. Okay.
But,
Well,
yeah.
we'll see. Because I know that some states are much worse than others. I know New York's pretty bad. I know Florida's pretty bad, and Miami's pretty bad. So we'll see. But that's middle of November. It's like November 17th, 18th. So hopefully by then we have a little bit more wiggle room. But if we don't, then I'll just plan on, you know, swimming out there, and I'll use that as my final sort of dig for condition.
A bit of cardio.
Like a year worth of swimming. You better start now, bro.
Yeah, I'll start now, I think. But yeah, no, if I can get to Worlds, then if I win my class at Worlds, I should be able to achieve the goal of getting the pro status. And then after that, it will be like a year off and coming back in 2022 as a pro. So that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal.
Cool. Have you got any questions then, Dan?
AJ, we spoke about the prep naturally. I just want to help us, not help, but give advice to as many naturals listening, because you are the first natural athlete on the podcast. You're one that you have got a name for yourself. People are aware who you are, you know. So I just want you to give as much advice and, you know, a message to the natties listening, because like I said, there's a lot of pressure right now with social media, trying to look as big as him, as shredded as her.
Right.
You know? And I don't feel like it's a good thing. So if there's any natties listening, I want them to go away from this and, you know, still be natty.
Feel more motivated than ever, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they leave this podcast and immediately start their first cycle, then I've really failed. Representing natural bodybuilding. I've really fucking just screwed up. So, but yeah, in terms of just like tidbits and take homes as a natural athlete, it's just reality is, you know, you've got to be patient in this game. It doesn't come overnight, you know. And the thing is, we've got to realize as well is it won't come overnight with assisted bodybuilding either.
No.
You know, you don't just jab yourself with, you know, your first cycle and suddenly wake up fucking like Phil Heath or massively bigger than you once were.
Yeah.
The same principles apply. If you're not willing to work as a natural athlete, then, you know, what makes you think that going assisted will grant you what you want? Because you've got to be able to set that baseline of work rate. Your work rate, assisted or natural, will dictate your results. So I recommend, you know, really finding a passion for the sport and really find your passion for training. And obviously, you know, be diligent with your nutrition for a long time before you even contemplate, you know, going down the route of assisted bodybuilding, because, you know, none of the things that you will do there will magically grant you where you want to get without all the things that you would have done as a natural. And then, you know, in terms of seeing the sport, what I recommend is you just get yourself along to some natural shows when they actually start happening, which the UK finals for the UKDFBA are in the middle of October in Coventry. So just get yourself down to those and come and watch and come and figure out what you can really achieve naturally and what the stage look actually looks like. Because a lot of the time people just think, oh, it just looks shit. They just look like, you know, a scrawny piece of nothing, when in reality I've been to some shows that are non-tested and I've been really disappointed. I've just walked away thinking, what a pile of rubbish.
Yeah.
And that's not me being harsh to assisted bodybuilding. Yeah. I've just seen some shows where I've just been like, how the fuck can they get that so wrong?
Mate, you get people at assisted shows that literally turn up and they don't look like they've dieted. And it's just like...
Yeah, tell me about it.
what the fuck is that about? It's like,
Yeah.
That's
what did you train
embarrassing.
for 6
It's
weeks?
embarrassing. It just looked really, really poor.
It's so funny, man. Because can
Which
I
makes
say?
you think though, like surely someone would
Sorry.
tell you. Surely you'd have someone in your corner to be like,
Yeah,
don't go
yeah,
on
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
you look shit.
It's mad, bro. I remember my show day, right, 2 years ago on my prep, okay? I'm not even joking, man. AJ at peak conditioned AJ is more conditioned than anyone on stage, bruv.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Was that a UK BFF show you did?
Yeah, men's physique.
Yeah, I thought that was the one you did, because I think I followed most of that prep that you did. Yeah.
Yeah, hard one, that, man.
Or it's like they turn up and they just got a horrible midsection and
Yeah, can't control it.
just like through the quarter turns, they just look like they're pregnant.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to watch, because it's just, to me, that is just disgusting. It just looks horrible.
Yeah.
And I think just why would you want a physique like that? So if you come to a natural show, like, especially, let's say next year when all this crap is over and we get a really high quality season, not that this year is going to be awful, but let's face it, a lot of people have binned off the prep. So it's going to be different to what it would have been if everyone was prepping.
A lot of people this year would have, just sacked it off and just focused on growing.
They have. And no surprise, to be honest. Like, who really wants to show up on stage when they've been training with resistance bands or whatever?
No one.
No one wants to do that. No one wants to put themselves through that shit. But some people, like myself, are lucky. Lucky is a shit word. I'm sorry, Jordan, for saying lucky. He doesn't like that word.
I hate that word.
But I'm grateful to be where I can afford kit and I can put it all in my garage, and I'm grateful for that. So I've obviously the minute I wasn't allowed in the gym, I'm just kitted it out. It took me about 2 weeks to do, and then just bang,
Hey,
So
I saw that sneaky video of Kuba on the Cybex, and he was spotted by a rare AJ Morris there. So
there may be a slight change of circumstances.
AJ turned up.
Yeah, of course, man. Like, of course.
He just turned up to film the set, and that was it.
There was, unfortunately,
Hey, Dad, 6 plates on a hat. Can you come spot me? Yeah, Kuba, man, coming down.
I'll just pop out the garage, mate. Yeah, that video was actually shot in my garage. I just have updated like a few bits of kit, and I just invited Ant as well.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, like, I think people are to the point now where they know that people are training in some gyms, and at the end of the day, like, Cuba's my main training partner. We've been training together for like 7-8 months now. So,
mate, if you're not a pro bodybuilder, if bodybuilding is like your main source of income, which it is, you're a coach. You're allowed to train like 5-6 weeks ago anyway.
Yeah, I think you are. Also, if you're contracted as well, there's something about that. If you actually have a contract, and obviously I have a contract with JP now, so and previously I had a contract with A-List, so I think there's something in the clause that allows it to be fine. But I think it's all a joke now, really, with what is open and what's not. It's just getting really, really boring. So I just hope that everything's sort of hit normality soon. I'm just so tired.
Me and Danny going for a pint after.
I was just about to say, me and Jay will jump in the car to Rotherham. We'll come get you. We'll go for a quick pint and then a hack. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, mate, I have such little interest in going for a drink today.
Yeah.
I've seen people queuing for pubs at 6 a.m. and it just makes me think, what has gone wrong in your life? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, what route have you decided to go down with that decision making?
I don't even drink myself, to be honest.
I mean, you know what? Like round Christmas time, I'll have a drink. If it's a very special occasion, an anniversary, I'll have a drink. But it's very rare. It's counterproductive, so it's a waste of time. But I mean, I'm not saying drinking. There's anything wrong with drinking. Like if that's your normal life. But I mean, going to the pub at 6 a.m. and getting wankered is just fucking weird.
Yeah, you've gone wrong somewhere to want to make that decision, I think.
Yeah.
Right, AJ, how are we doing for time, bud?
I can wrap things up here if you feel like we've given adequate value. If you've got another question, I can take it.
Jamie, have you got a last detailed question for AJ? Give me one more good one. Let's go.
On the spot.
On the spot.
Yeah, I think I've asked everything I wanted to know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually, no. You've got a Labrador, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted to ask about your dog.
Last question about the dog.
I heard his bark is literally the same as my dog. How old is he now?
Coming up to 8 months now.
Because we got him at similar times. I remember seeing it. I was like, it looked identical to my dog.
Yeah. What's yours called?
Loki.
Oh, okay. Mine's called Barney. So
bless him.
it's lovely to have it in the house, to be honest, because you come in and you're always greeted by something. So and obviously it helps. It helps at the moment. You know, getting in steps is a lot easier when there's someone saying, quick, hurry up, give me
Does yours chew everything up?
Yeah. Oh my God, the house is just totally fucked.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Totally fucked. So I'm lucky in the sense that I do actually we still rent off Cuba at the moment. So
yeah,
he understands that the house is going to be a little fucked.
Yeah.
But when we move out, we'll make sure that the Barney shit is tidied up.
I think it's.
Are you living with Cuba?
No, I rent off Cuba, mate.
Yeah, I think it takes about a year and a half for them to properly calm down.
Yeah.
I did not realise when I got a lab how bad they truly are.
They just want everything. They just want to pick up everything, chew everything.
Yeah.
Very needy. But you gotta love them. It's annoying. So when you get annoyed at them, when you get really pissed off, you look at their face and you can't get annoyed.
Does Barney eat balloons and random shit, bags? Oh, lost him.
I can't say I've got any balloons in the house, to be honest.
I mean, well, when we bought Loki, though, he just tends to pick up just balloons, and when we try and take it off him, he panics and swallows it.
Oh God! Oh no, that's not ideal.
You're a bad Labrador dog owner. You shouldn't have balloons around the house, Jamie.
Bro, I mean outside. I don't have balloons around the house. But yeah, that's all I wanted to ask.
Good question. I'm sure the listeners are absolutely intrigued.
So the two things people are going to learn from this podcast is stay natty and get a Labrador. So
don't get a Labrador.
I don't get a Labrador. Right,
thank you guys.
Mr. Morris, thanks for coming on. We
appreciate it. Very much.
Absolute pleasure. And I'll leave everyone that's listening, guys, go follow AJ, although I'm very sure you already do. He also has a subscription site. Just give us a quick 2-liner on the subscription site, AJ. Tell us about it quick.
So yeah, obviously, first of all, definitely sign up to JP if you haven't already signed up, because it's the best site going, and I'll be putting out a lot of content on there, and my log will be updated daily. In terms of my site, so it will still be running. It's made by morriscoaching.com. And the main thing that's going on down to the lockdown is the online coaching education series. So if you're wanting to be a coach, you're wanting to level up your processes, or even just start coaching online, I'd really recommend checking that out. It's an 8-part series. There's over 40 videos that are going up there to take you through from literally right at the start all the way to running a successful business. So check that out. And if you're interested in coaching or online physique assessments, just head to the services section and check those out.
Cool.
Good
having you, man. We'll catch you soon.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Take care, mate.
See you later.
Bye.